All right, we're gonna do the front struts on a 99 Rav4. I'm not a mechanic. I'm just a guy that likes to work on his own car. This worked, so do this at your own risk. Make sure to break the lug nuts loose while the car's on the ground, just so you have that resistance on your side. I have got an extra jack, 2 jack stands, safety first, 12 millimeter, 19 millimeter. Breaker bar with the 21 for the lug nuts. Extensions are good. 10, 19, and a 14. So get those lug nuts off. I do it in that star pattern just because that's how you put it on. I mean, I don't know. Somebody just told me to do that a long time ago, so that's how I do it. But, yeah. If you don't know how to take off lug nuts, there you go. I always use my tire as a seat. Normally, I just put it down and I use it to sit on, and I don't know, that's just how it works for me. That's a 12. You're gonna take that off on that brake line. That's a 10. Take that off too. I double up my wrenches. I only have hand tools. No big deal. Double up the wrenches, get double the torque. If you don't know how, that's how. Take that 10 off. And then I take this brake line and I just kind of put it behind the caliper right there. This strut is dead. It's dead. It's a 19. There's 2 bolts. You're gonna have to double up the wrenches on the sides to break it loose. So I put a 19 on one side, and then I double up the wrenches on the other side, and those were not coming off. They were not budging. This is some PB blaster. It loosens up the bolts, but you should really put this on like hours or like a full day before and just soak it. But like, I'm kind of winging it here, so I just sprayed some on there. Let it sit for a little bit. I moved on to the bottoms, the bottom set of 19s, just to start getting those off. I had to use a breaker bar. No big deal. So that's from my jack handle. That's my breaker bar. Broke the bottom bolt loose. You really, just to break it loose, you don't have to, it takes very little bit of effort to break it loose. And then, went back to the top here. Had to use the breaker bar again. No big deal. Move up to the top after you break those bolts loose. These are 14s. I put them up there. There's a little plate that goes on first. So these are those 19s that were a pain in the ass. I got them loose. I got them out. It was a pain in the ass to get out, but you'll figure it out. So it's gonna start moving a bit here. This is just me wiggling this front strut out. The other side was not this easy. The other side was a pain. You got to move that hub around. But yeah, this one was nice and easy. Just kind of want to show you the old one and the new one. So I buy loaded struts because I've had some bad experiences with spring compressors. So do yourself a favor and just buy loaded struts. I mean, they're not that much more expensive. You got to buy the top part anyway. You're gonna save yourself money in the time that you spend, in the anguish that you spend trying to get a spring compressor going. So just buy loaded struts. Do it. So get it all lined up. Put that. I don't even know what this is. It's like a plate. Put that back on there. I put these nuts back on, but I don't put them all the way down. I kind of put them so they're flush with the bolt, and then I put this one too far, so I kind of back it out. I mean, just so it gives you a little bit of room to play. This is a pain in the ass to line this back up. I have a second jack there because on the other side, I actually had to put it underneath the control arm to raise it up to line up the 2 holes on the new strut correctly. But like this one, it was weird. It was like the opposite. Like I could not get them lined up because the hub was too high. So, I don't know why that is, but like sometimes you got to use a jack to raise it up. But this time I was trying to find a good spot for my breaker bar to push the hub down, to get some leverage to push it down. A lot of times I'll use a 2x4, and I'll find a good spot for the 2x4, and I'll literally sit on it to move whatever I need to move down. But you gotta be careful with that, because there's a lot of parts in there with like boots and stuff where, you know, you don't want to be ripping stuff. But I found a good little spot, and once you find like a good spot, you know, use your body mechanics. I'm actually using my knee to push against the rotor, and I'm using leverage on that breaker bar. And then when I do, like literally, like the hole is that this bolt needs to go to, it slides right in. Like, I mean, perfectly, goes right in. You know, so take some time to line it up correctly, because if you're not, you're gonna sit there and hammer on shit, and you're gonna be, or like using your wrenches to like screw it in, stripping stuff. Just like, you know, do your best to do it right. So I got the bolts lined up. I have them in where I can just, you know, just tap on them with the hammer to get them in. You shouldn't be smashing these things to get them back in. So there they are. They're lined up. That was a pain in the ass. That probably took in real time like 20 minutes. This is the spot I used to push down on the rotor. You kind of smash that. I think it's like a dust shield, but you know, you just fix it or reshape it with a screwdriver later. Go back on top, tighten these guys down, tighten them down, you know, torque them down. Don't torque them down like crazy. I have a tendency to over torque everything, so you know, don't do that. Line up that 10, line up that 12, and like I don't show it here, but like you know, you got to torque down those 19s, like torque them down good. You know, torque them down at least as hard as it took to take them off. So there you go, hand tools. You know, put your tire back on.